Mhm. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hopping on to another episode of The Black Pill. I am your host, Shane, joined as always by the one, the only, the beautiful.
The kickin' Ken Coco Bomb himself. What is
Whoa,
up?
you just channeled like a WWE action star right there.
I don't know. I was feeling like The Rock or Roddy Piper.
Whoa. Yeah. If you're listening to this on podcast, you might want to jump over to the video because Ken's little head swivel swing that you just did there was pretty impressive. I'll give you that.
And I got my I Believe shirt on too, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm like kind of like still in awe. So for a little peek behind the scenes for anyone who hasn't caught on, we record the intros to the episodes after we record with the guest. So I'm a little like, I don't know, dazed. I texted Ken as soon as we get done. I go, wow, that was life-changing for us. I know for sure. That was incredible. So I'm just like sitting here pondering things, and Ken's over here doing his WWE. Woo! He's in the building.
Yeah, I think
But hey, that's good.
I've accepted the fact that I don't know what the hell's going on and I need to rethink some stuff. So it's like, I've accepted it, moving on and kicking ass along the way.
All right, that's a good.
No, but this one, honestly, this one gave me goosebumps. I was telling Shane, I was like getting a little emotional a little bit because it was like it really did hit home with me. And if you guys have listened before, I'm a fanatic about the past life regression. So we get into a lot of the past life stuff. So it really tickled my fancy, if you know what I mean.
All past lives, live between lives, it was incredible. This was so fun. So we haven't even said his name yet. We were joined by Antonio Sangio. You'll definitely get to know him on this episode. He's phenomenal. I'm so glad we connected, and I'm equally happy to share this with all of you. I know a large portion of the listener base will really be into this. I know some of you will be like coming after us for some of it, but whatever. Nothing new at this point. Hey, I've been saying this more and more too. Selfishly, for me and you, this was so cool, right?
Yep. That's what I even said right as we got done. I'm like, he's not too far away. We can go visit him, man. Like, I literally want to go talk to that dude.
I know, for sure. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for joining the Black Pill Podcast. I'm your host, Shane. And in today's culture, we have this norm of urgency where we're always in a rush to get everything done. We spend too much time thinking about what we have to do in the future while dwelling on the negatives of the past. This conundrum keeps us from experiencing right now, where it seems to appear that everything is actually happening. Whether you believe in linear time or you see it as just another construct shouldn't change the idea that remaining present in this journey is one of the more powerful things we can do as human beings. This connection to time is one that disconnects us from who we really are. Are we really all just souls having a human experience? I tend to think so, but today's guest is here to help break down why that may actually be true. So everybody, put your hands together. Please welcome to the show, teacher, healer, and author of My Soul's Purpose, Antonio Sangio. How are you doing, man?
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited about this interview. I watched a few of your videos and listen to your podcast, and I'm impressed. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Doing well.
Thank you. Glad to have you here. And I wrote that up before we got on the phone and talked, or on the Zoom and talked. So you actually do have a second book out. I know you told us it's in Spanish, but it will soon be in English. What is that called?
In English will be Guiding Lost Souls, right? Helping spirits go back to the light through the use of hypnosis. Okay. That's what's coming. Right.
I wanted to get that out there. We can recap that at the end, but I want to make sure we got that one out there because there is 2 books out there, which is cool to know. So I think where we should start is to learn a little bit about you for our listeners. And one thing, maybe we can start at this point, because I heard you say in an interview, there was, it sounds like your journey's been from when you were young, but you mentioned the book, and I know our listeners are familiar with this, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Yes.
It sounds like that was kind of a moment where you had this transition or this light bulb moment.
Right. So yeah, it got to a point when I was practicing hypnosis, and I explained this to my book, My Soul's Purpose. When I started doing a retrospection, how come I got to this point and facilitating these type of sessions? And I went back in time, and I got back to the time when I remember my father sharing metaphysical topics to me. He used to read, he enjoyed reading those books. And one of the books he read was Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. I didn't read it back then. I didn't like reading books back then. I was in my early 20s, and he mentioned the concept of reincarnation. And to me, and I'm sorry, let me connect this to power before I forget. To me,
no problem.
It all made sense. You know, even though I was not familiar with it, it all made sense. We reincarnate, we're souls coming back. So with that, I didn't pay attention to it again, but I always believed in past lives and in reincarnation. My mother, very Catholic, very religious. You know, the Catholics don't believe in reincarnation. Mm-hmm. So I put that on the back burner until the moment I learned hypnosis. Actually, before I learned hypnosis, my mother-in-law passed away. And when my wife brought some of her books, that book again got to my hands, Many Lives, Many Masters. That was the first time I read it. Mm-hmm. Once I was done with the book, reading the book, I said, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to practice. And that is how I started in hypnosis.
So you do, go ahead, Ken, if you're going to say something.
No, I was just going to kind of get into like what his hypnosis, like what he's actually studying, kind of how that differs from everything. You know, how is that different from quantum hypnosis? You know, there's a million different kinds. Like what is yours and what is unique to you, you know, in what you practice?
The one that I practice the most and the one that I resonate the most with is introspective hypnosis. That's what I practice. It focuses on the soul, and we start working around symptoms. And these symptoms will take us, as you follow the symptoms, they will take you to the root cause of the issue, the symptom, which could be physical, emotional, and mental. The root cause could be maybe weeks ago, years ago, maybe during childhood, maybe in the womb, maybe in the past life, even after you died in a past life. We call that soul entrapment. So we help the soul end the entrapment. When you end the entrapment, the symptoms disappear. I mean, symptoms that do not have a medical explanation. That's psychosomatic symptoms. That's the ones I'm talking about. So that is the technique that I practice the most and that I teach.
Does that differ from QHAT? And maybe I have this wrong. Is QH is the quantum hypnosis piece? Does that revolve more around past lives?
So yeah, quantum healing hypnosis technique. I was training that technique. Actually, that is the first technique that I learned. I learned directly from Dolores Cannon. I did the first level 1 online and level 2 in person with her. A few months later, she passed away.
Wow.
So QHST focuses more on past life regression and contacting the higher self. Dolores Cannon was calling it the subconscious mind, but she understood that the subconscious mind was the part of you connected to the spirit world that had all the information you needed, right? So QHST was more past life regression, contacted higher self. There was some healing taking place, yes. I mean, all these techniques help you in a way. But introspective hypnosis is not based on past life regressions. You run into past lives as you work around symptoms. So if people come to me saying, Antonio, I want an introspective hypnosis session with you because I want to understand about my past life, my answer will be no. That is not the intention of the session, right? The intention, again, is working on symptoms, and sooner or later, you're going to run into past life, you're going to run into attachments, you name it.
This is interesting to me because it's almost like when we have our homeopathic or holistic doctors, they talk about healing the whole body. And it seems to me like this introspective hypnosis piece it's not just related to past life. It's all these pieces of your, what is it, your soul?
It's your soul. Your soul remembers everything. So if we talk about the subconscious mind, the way I see it and the way some of my teachers see it, the subconscious mind goes beyond this body. Mm-hmm. We carry things from previous lives. We carry things from the time in the womb, in our mother's womb. So it is not about just past life regression. It is not about just working with the body. It's the soul that has all the information.
And you keep talking about, you know, you're healing. We're healing with past lives and all that. And so how is it healing? Like, how do you actually heal? I mean, you bring up an issue that's kind of manifesting itself, but where's the actual healing done?
Okay, so we first need to understand that the way I explain this, and I explain this in my classes, I don't consider myself a healer, for example. I'm a facilitator. I don't heal anybody. As I facilitate the sessions, people heal themselves once they go to that experience, and I'm going to explain what happens. So I'll give you an example, right? So Ken, for example, let's say that in a past life, you were accused of being you were a healer, an energy healer, but back then you were called a witch, right? So because of that, they got you and they hanged you. But before your body died in that life, you went to the event where they're accusing you of something you were not. They're calling you a witch and you're not. You were helping people and these people betrayed you. So you're feeling these emotions and you have kids. As they're taking you away, you're thinking about your kids. Who's going to take care of my kids? Who's going to support my family, my wife, right? And then as you're in the gallows, you're about to be hanged. You're seeing all these people yelling at you, screaming, burn that witch, and you have all these emotions. So what happened is that at that time, you don't have time your body doesn't have the time to process everything that is taking place. In other words, you don't have time to die properly. So when you're not able to process the death of that body at 3 levels, physical, emotional, and mental, there's something called entrapment, soul entrapment. Part of your energy is trapped in that experience. So far, so good? All right. Now,
Yep.
how is it? So people say, okay, but it's in the past. How can this be affecting me? I have a different body. We are a soul having a human experience. And we have occupied many bodies. The soul doesn't understand anything about time. You could have lived that life in whatever time as a healer and you were accused of being a witch. For your soul, that just took place. What's more, Ken, for your soul, that is still taking place because you're trapped. Your energy is trapped in that experience. So you're bringing the symptoms from that life to this one because everything is happening now. How is it that people heal themselves? In this case, I allow them to relive that moment, to complete whatever they were not able to complete back then. Even say goodbye to your kids and to your wife, because time does not exist, everything is happening now. Once you complete that process, the symptom disappears in this body.
And
that is the way it works.
You can complete that that person can complete that client, right. That person can complete that process through hypnosis.
Right. So I help my clients to relive that moment. And I'll be asking questions, but these questions are directed to helping them complete and become aware of everything that took place as they were dying. You see? And so that ends the entrapment.
That gave me goosebumps, man. I'm not gonna lie. And you know what? I like your example too, because I think I might have been a witch in my past life. So,
we all have.
Go ahead. I was going to ask: is soul entrapment and you mentioned how like the things that happened in the past affect you in present day, this body that we're in right now. Is this the same idea as quantum entanglement?
Well, not sure about that concept, but this is the explanation. Since time does not exist, and you have the symptom with you now, there's no past, there's no present, there's no future. Linear time is just a creation of the human brain to understand time. The truth is that everything is happening now. Because remember, you had that event, Ken, you had that event in that life where you were hanged, but you're feeling the symptom now. So you have the past with you now. Do you need to travel in time and space to understand where this is coming from? Not really. We just need to help you make conscious what is unconscious to you. I mean, you have the symptom. You don't know where it's causing the symptom. You went to the doctor, you had x-ray done, an MRI, doctors telling you, you have nothing, you're totally okay. And you're telling your doctors, I'm not crazy, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
So it's to help you make conscious what is unconscious to you. It's like downloading the information from your cloud, and we're gonna work with it. Once we're done with the information, it goes back to the cloud. This is like Office 365, right? It's not installed on your computer, but you can access it from the cloud from anywhere. So yes, people call it past lives. And when I navigate my sessions, and I navigate them in linear time, because that is what my clients understand. But the truth is that there's no past. Everything is happening now.
That was going to be my question. Why are we calling, if everything's happening now, why are we even calling them past lives?
Yeah, that is one of the concepts that took me time to learn. I was able to, I was getting all of this in my sessions, but I didn't know how to explain it and put it into words. until I learned from, who to me is one of my, I mean, it's a master. I learned from very good teachers. But Jose Luis Cabuli, he's an Argentinian that practices the technique, past life therapy. That is the name of the technique. He explained that to me, it makes sense. Once you understand the concept that time does not exist, then the approach of your session changes completely. Believe it or not, you do not even need an induction to take people into that experience, because you're using the symptom as the threat, as the bridge that is going to take you to that other experience.
So one of the things that, I mean, I'm with you on the time piece, but there's going to be plenty of people that are listening, and how do we explain that better or walk someone through it when you're like, time isn't real, it's not linear? And I agree with that, but to the person that's like, what do you mean? The sun comes up every day, the moon comes out at night, I have to wake up at 7 to go to work. Like, that's a linear progression.
Right, but souls are not affected by that. Your body is. So think about astronauts, right? When they go to space, what happens? They don't get old as fast as we do when they're in space.
Yeah,
time travel.
They're in a different time, kind of a different timeline. So time is an illusion, and it's just a mere set of calculations. And there are scientists that talk about this. There's an Italian scientist, I forgot the name, I mentioned him in my book, that talks about time and the illusion of time, and the time is perceived according to where the spectator is. So it changes.
So you started doing the QHHT. Did you have this realization about time and past lives, and that's what got you to this?
No. I started with quantum healing hypnosis technique, and in a very short time, I felt like I needed more techniques. Certain situations were presenting themselves in my sessions, and I felt like I didn't have enough tools. All right. So, and I first wanted to learn from Aurelio Mejia, my second teacher. I was watching his videos. I contacted him. He was not teaching classes back then, but a cousin of mine told me about Dolores Cannon. That's how I started with hypnosis. But as soon as I guess destiny, I was able to host Aurelio, who is from Colombia, South America. I was able to host him in Charlotte, and I shadowed him for 6 days. We facilitated 38 sessions. He's well known in the Hispanic community. So that is how I learned, and I realized that more things were presenting in my session that I didn't have the tools for.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask. What tools, I guess, were you really missing?
For example, right, there was something manifesting in my sessions. Then I then understood there were attachments, because I was watching Aurelio's videos, and he was dealing with attachments. So attachments were manifesting in my sessions. Attachments are lost souls attached to your vibrational field. It's not a possession. We don't believe in possession. Possession is displacement of the soul. Attachment is like a tick. They attach to you, they live out of your blood, they give you symptoms like Lyme disease, and because you don't have energy, you feel sick, you change the plan. The same thing happens with the souls. They attach to you, they transmit their emotions, residual physical symptoms, most of the time related to the way they died. So they manifest in a session.
So are these attached souls, are they like, is that like they're in between like meat vehicles then? Is that why they're holding on to us?
They're in this dimension because they might be lost, they might be confused. Some of them didn't even realize their body died. So there are many reasons why they stay, and some other reasons why they attach to you.
Okay.
But this was happening, and QHHT doesn't believe in spirit attachments. We were not allowed to talk about that in the forum. So what do I do now? I learned more techniques. I learned from Aurelio Mejia, and basically introspective hypnosis was created with him. I then modified it as I kept learning other techniques, but I kept the same structure of the session. I gave him my own style. I changed inductions. I put my own flavor and style into it, but it's basically the same structure of the session, introspective hypnosis. Then I learned life between lives. I was certified in Michael Newton's technique. So life between lives allows you to facilitate sessions and take the soul to the spirit world so they can understand their eternal identity, right? And after that, when I think like, okay, I got it, I feel comfortable. Somebody recommended to learn from Cabuli, and I learned about past life therapy and soul entrapment, soul fragmentation, you name it. So I put everything together now into introspective hypnosis. So that's how, again, going back to your question, that's what triggered me to start looking for more tools, because things were happening in the session and I didn't have the tools that I needed back then.
I want to talk about this live between lives for a second, though. So we talked about reincarnation and your soul comes back in this physical presence, but they're in between all that, I guess, or maybe happening all at the same time. There is a live between lives.
Right.
And what is that exactly, I guess?
Okay, so live between lives is a technique developed by Michael Newton that points to taking your client in a trance. Your client go back to the spirit world. We go back to the womb, and then we use a past life, but just as an entry point to the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Once we're there, and the way I see it, we are at the service of the spirit guides and what we call the council of the elders. So at that time, we just take them there, and then we ask questions. But it's their guides and the council and their soul group that help our clients, understanding who they are, understanding about their past life, understanding about their evolution, the goals they accomplished in previous lives. Clients might bring questions. We ask those questions. The guide will give you advice. People go sometimes to what they call the library. Some people see it as books, some other as containers, some other as crystals. And in the library, you have the book about your lives, kind of your
your own
Akashic records, right? So you can see, and that's what you study, and based on that, you choose your next reincarnation, your next lessons to learn. So what else happens in the spirit world? That's our real home. This body is just temporary. Our real home is up there. So you meet with your soul group. You understand who are the members of your soul group. You understand which of the members of your soul group incarnated with you, who's your soulmate, what is the purpose of your soul group, what are the main, not the main, but what is the main reason that puts all of you together, the main goal, the main characteristic, the personality, the dynamic, interaction with other groups, interaction with groups where you're going to choose who your parents are going to be in order to work on karma and all these issues. So it's understanding who you are as an eternal soul, because your name is Shane here, your name is Ken here. In the spirit world, you might be called XYZ. It's a different name, right? So it's, let's put it this way. Think about a fighter pilot, right? They're at the base, they get on a plane, they fly a mission, right? And they either throw bombs or take pictures or whatever is their mission. They go back to the base and they get a debriefing. Okay, so let's see, okay, which of your goals did you accomplish this time? Such and such and such. Oh, but you're missing this one. The following day, you get on another plane, you fly a mission again, you get back. So you can do this, several times. So think about the pilot as your soul, and think of the plane as the bodies that we use. So we're going back to the base and we do a debriefing, and then, okay, let's see how you did this time. Okay, now you're going to choose some new goals for the next mission. And that's how we plan our reincarnation. We choose our parents, we choose the lessons, we have contracts, there's karma not that we have to pay, because karma is the law of balance. There's all these things that take place in the spirit world before we return.
It's like a giant therapy session we keep going back to, man. Like, seriously.
Each technique has its own purpose.
I've been recently saying more, this is all just an experience that we chose to have based on everything you just said.
This is virtual reality. This is a reality made to our needs in order to learn what we need to learn. What happened is that we don't remember. We have amnesia when we're born. If you I don't know, let's say that, I don't know if you're married, Shane, but let's say you're married and you decided before reincarnated, you decided to have a contract with another soul, and you tell this other soul, I need you to help me learning about forgiveness. And this other soul says, absolutely, Shane, your name is going to be different in the spirit world. Absolutely. What can I do for you? So, well, I need to learn about forgiveness. And I think what is going to be best for me and the easiest way to learn about this would be if you and I get married once we reincarnate and you cheat on me. Shane, I would never do that to you. Please do it because I need to learn about that. I need to learn about those emotions. So you do that, you reincarnate, you forget, you meet, your wife cheats on you, and now you feel like you're a victim. Oh, because of her, now my life is miserable. Because of her, now I lost my job, and you start blaming everybody else. And this is part of the lesson, part of the learning. We don't remember.
Well, I want to tag with that because I've heard you talk about like your past promises, vows, and everything like that. You know, like I'll never forgive you or never forget you. I'll always remember you. I'll come back for you. So how do you actually let that go as opposed to just like recognizing it? But there's more to letting that go. You know.
Yeah. So in order for people to understand what we're talking about, when we make promises, vows, and all these things in past lives. Who is making those vows? Who is making that promise? The body or the soul?
Soul.
The soul, right? So the soul doesn't understand anything about time. That soul is going to carry the same promise, the same vow to another life, right? And I'll give you an example. I had clients that in past lives, this woman, beautiful woman, in a past life was a priest. What kind of vows do priests make?
Oh, celibacy.
Celibacy.
Right? And not to have
kids and all that.
And not to have money or goods.
Oh, right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So as she reincarnated as a beautiful woman in this life, guess what was happening? She was having issues, you know, in relationship with the husband or partners or whatever. Some people sabotage themselves because they feel that they should not have material possessions. So they start a business and everything goes wrong for them. They sabotage themselves because in their mind, in their soul, they're still a priest. So when you call it, that's a symptom. You know, some people have issues trying to keep a long-term relationship. I had a client that was telling me, I'm not able to keep a long-term relationship. Every time we're about to commit, I end the relationship. And I don't know why.
Talking to me right now, about me right now?
So this lady went back to a past life. We're talking about past, right? She went to a past life where actually it was during wartime. She met a soldier from the enemy that was wounded. She took the soldier to her house, healed his wounds, spent a long time there with her. They fell in love, and it was time for him to go back to his country. And this woman said, I'll be waiting for you forever. I will always be waiting for you. She reincarnated as a different woman now, different body. She was still waiting for him. So every time she was about to commit with somebody, she ended the relationship because her soul was still waiting for the other one. So the idea is to take them back and understand what happened. Now that you understand, you understand it's a different body, break the promise, break the vow, and that's how things are going to be fixed. But that's what happens. You know, we need to take them back to that moment and help them understand what was said. What is this vow or promise about?
Do these things manifest in the physical body in the form of disease and sickness?
If it's a promise or a vow, I'm not sure. But there's also, if you want to talk about, for example, soul entrapment, let's say that in a past life, you did horrible things from the human standpoint. You did horrible things. And as you were dying, you understood what you did and how you affected people. Let's say you killed people. As you were dying, you said maybe, I don't deserve to be forgiven. Or no matter how many lives I'm going to get, I will not be able to forgive myself. Boom, you got trapped into that mandate, right? What's going to happen when you reincarnate in another body?
Still going to be there.
I don't deserve to be forgiven. So you're going to have all kind of issues. Now, the symptoms can manifest physical, emotional, and mental. So yes, you can have some physical symptoms, as well.
Wow. This is great. I got to ask now. I want to ask, because you mentioned during the live between lives, you said soul group. What exactly is a soul group?
Yeah. So when you think of soul group as a classroom, so in this classroom, you have your classmates, and your soul group has this kind of same type of energy and the color of the energy and the purpose and the same kind of evolution. Because whenever you become part of a group, they don't take you. You don't go from one group to another one that is already formed. They form a new one, right? So in this group, which is your classroom, you help each other to evaluate lives. You reincarnate sometimes together, not to all the lives, but you help each other evolve. You help each other evaluate life. You help each other playing roles. You interact with other groups or subgroups, and that's the purpose. It's a classroom. So
So is your soul group, your soul family, soul pod? Is that all pretty?
Right.
Is that the same
thing?
It's
the same thing.
Yeah. And is it
that's the way I see it.
Are some like 5 souls, other 500 souls? Like, is it?
I don't think 500. I mean, it could be 8, 10, 12.
Okay.
I mean, there's no way to know for sure. I mean, if you read the book, Michael Newton's book, Life Between Lives, you're gonna see there. But how can we know for sure this is the way it is? That's what he found in the sessions, right? But it's not a big amount of people. It's just a small group. Wow. And each group has a spirit guide.
Oh, there's a spirit guide for that whole group?
Yes. So the spirit guide is to guide you, is to help you. You choose your lessons. You choose what you want to learn, and you go to the spirit guide and say, this is what I plan to learn in my next reincarnation. Do you think this would work for me? What kind of, if I need to learn about limitations, what kind of body would work for me? Oh, you need to have a body that could have a genetic problem, right? Oh, you're going to be blind, or no, when you get to your 20s or 30s, you're going to have an accident, and then you will not be able to walk again because you need to experience such and such. So accidents are not even accidents. Another good book that I would recommend is Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. He has a lot of those cases there. He talks about pre-birth planning, right? So the guide is there not to tell you there's no chain of command. It's not to tell you. They will only help you when you request their help. They will not interfere with your evolution if you don't want to.
I was going to get into like the hypnosis and introspective hypnosis and all that. Like, so anybody can do this. You don't have to be in a certain mindset or have to believe in past lives or any of that. Or is it, or do you have to kind of be there?
When you say anybody can do this, are you talking about clients or practitioners?
Clients.
Anybody can have these type of sessions, but number one, they need to have a clear understanding of what is it that they need to, I don't know if we should use the word heal. What is it that you want to overcome, right? What issues are you bringing? Kabuli would ask this question: what does your soul need to heal? Okay, be clear about that. Number one. That's number two is you need to be ready to open your soul and tell all your secrets. If there is something you don't want to talk about, don't have the session, because then your mind is going to be focusing on not to talk about, than what you should be talking about. Right? And number three is keep an open mind. You need to want this, because what's happening is some people can because, oh, my friend says this will benefit me, or you know what, I have my son has some issues and I want him to have a session with you. Does your son think that he needs the help? No, he doesn't, but he has to. No, don't even waste your time. Don't waste your money. If he doesn't want to, It's not going to work. So they need to be willing to go through this and to have the right expectations. And when I say right expectations, some people want to know if they're star seeds. They want to know if they were together in past life. This is not for introspective hypnosis. They can use other techniques for that.
Right. They don't want some fun, like, I don't know, parlor trick, like, oh, my past life, I was a queen.
A lot of people, what happens, Ken, is a lot of people want to be told what to do next.
Yeah.
They use hypnosis. They think they're going to consult an oracle, and it doesn't work this way. We came here to learn and to take tests, right? We need to pass some lessons. You guys are not gonna give you the answers. Right. There's no cheat sheet that you're going to use.
It's like asking the teacher for the answers. They can give it to you.
Right. No. This is what you have to experience. Now, they might show you they might allow you to visit certain events for you to get a better understanding, but it's up to you to make those changes, those decisions. Every time that people come saying, I want to know what my purpose is, I want to be told what my purpose is, I've never heard the answer saying, oh, this is your purpose. That's something that is basically never answered.
This is it always comes back to you have to do the work. You have to save yourself.
Yes. You have you have free will, and you need to you need to find your own purpose. And that's why I wrote my book. I wanted to encourage other people to understand that all these difficult situations that we go through, where we felt victims and we blame others for what is happening to us, they're for a reason. I'm the result of all the things that I went through in my life. And in my book, I talk about my experience through the experiences I went through with my father. You know, and I finished writing my book when a few weeks after my father passed away. I was actually reviewing it as he was, I mean, his last few days of life, right, his life. But I felt like my circle with him was completed. I'm the result of what I went through with him. So how can I feel a victim? How can I blame my father for what happened to me? I can only thank him. Thanks to you, thanks to, because I'm sure that I was the one that asked him, please, I need you to play this role in my life, because I'm coming to planet Earth for this mission. But in order for me to help other people, I need to understand what those feelings, emotions are. I need to understand what it feels, what is sadness, feel betrayed, feel lost. I need to understand all of that. How can I help people in my sessions here if I don't know that myself, right? So
I love the way you put things too, especially like bad or negative things that happen. It's not bad or negative. It's something that has to happen, that is going to happen to us, that
right.
we put ourselves in that situation. Yeah.
So you can learn in love, which is beautiful, but sometimes we learn in suffering. But suffering is an amplifier for learning. The lessons that you learn.
Some people prefer it.
I mean, yeah. Which are the best lessons you learn? Those lessons in which you suffered, you know, that it was tough. So everything is about learning. And there are no victims in this world. There are no victims. Right. There's no right or wrong. If you see it from the human eye, yes, this is a bad person. Those are people playing roles. It's difficult to understand.
I was going to say, is that difficult to understand? Is it an ego thing, especially when you think about personal victimization?
I don't know if it's ego, but it's you trying to not take ownership of what you're going through. You don't want to be responsible. For example, in some sessions, people went to past life or events when they understood where the symptom was coming from. Mm-hmm. But it's up to them to change that mindset and for that symptom to disappear. So if they assuming that they were sick for some time, but some of them chose not to heal themselves because that sickness was working for them, was doing something for them. Because I'm sick, now I'm the center of attention of my family.
Yeah, geez.
You know, they treat me this way because I'm sick. If I'm no longer sick, then I'm not going to get this from them. Right? So we need to take responsibility for what is happening to us, because this is roles that we're playing, and other people playing roles in our lives. So what is it that, the question we should be asking ourselves is, what is it that I need to learn from this? If let's say I planned this, and I know we did, if I planned this, what was my soul thinking that I needed to learn from this situation? Some people would try to just close their eyes. I'm a victim. It's his fault. I'm not going to do this. And I'm going to just turn my back and walk away from this situation. Guess what? The same lesson is going to come back to you later, disguised as another situation or another person. Then you have these people, going through the same thing, situations over and over and over in time. It's because there's something there you need to learn.
Wow.
I'm saying wow so many times. One, because this is the first time I noticed this ever. One, I'm saying wow because of everything you just explained. But two, where I sit and record this podcast, there's a mirror on the wall right across from me. And I look up and I just see myself back in it. And I never realized it until right now.
One thing that happens in the class, when I teach classes, most of the classes I teach by myself, but in others, I do it with my friend and colleague, Alba Weinman. She has a lot of followers in her YouTube channel. So as I explain these concepts and we teach classes and we do these exercises, people obtain. I mean, people heal themselves because now they understand. They understand they were feeling victims when they didn't have to, and they were, their soul was entrapped when they didn't have to. So by the end of the class, everybody feels different. You know, they all start by the last day of class when we have our practice sessions. They have all kind of symptoms already because we've been talking about this for 5 days. On day number 6, they have all these symptoms on the surface, ready to be worked on.
I was going to ask, like, do most of your clients, like, are they referrals? Like, hey, my friend like said I needed this, or are there actual people? Because I just know with hypnosis and even meditation, you get that woo-woo look, like you're a crazy witch doctor. And so I was just kind of curious what your clientele kind of looks like coming in, and like, how do you bridge that gap between the people that don't and need, that actually do need it? Because some of them I feel like they are mentally sick,
Okay. Well, so you're saying, how is it that people come to me? How is it that they find me? Is that?
Yeah. Like, what's your normal clientele? Because I feel like, is it a lot of people that meditate, or is it a lot of people that have like no idea what the world? You know what I mean?
The people that come to me are people that feel that they have a symptom.
Okay.
That they say, I cannot continue living this way because I have this physical symptom, this emotional symptom, this mental symptom, whatever it is. When I was practicing QHHT, I was getting a different type of clients. I was getting clients that wanted to know about their past lives, clients that wanted to connect with their higher self, and clients that wanted to get advice. But some people got the wrong impression of what QHHT is. They were bringing questions. I want to know who the next president is going to be. I want to know who I'm going to marry in the future. That's not the purpose of having a session. So that was QHHT. When I started with introspective hypnosis, I started getting a different type of client. So I was getting clients with symptoms, and some of them were afraid of hypnosis sessions. So you would say, so why did they contact you? Because most of the times we are their last resource.
I was gonna say they're at wit's end.
They tried everything else. They tried everything else, and this is my last try. This is what I cannot continue living this way. When they come with that symptom and with that mentality, and they're open, beautiful things happen during the session.
I want to go back to something you said earlier when we were talking. You mentioned displacement of the soul, and I think you brought it up as you mentioned something around possession.
Yeah.
What is, when you say displacement of the soul, can that happen to like me sitting here in my physical body on earth right now? Can my soul become displaced?
Well, I don't want to offend anybody. That's my point of view. Some people might think in a different way.
Sure.
But in order to answer that question, I want to go back to Allan Kardec's book, The Spirit's Book.
Okay.
Do you know about that book?
I do not.
Okay, that book was, actually there's a movie on Netflix, Allan Kardec. So that book was, what that book was about questions asked to spirits through mediums, right? So Allan Kardec said, in order for the answer to that question to be in this book, this answer needs to come exactly the same way from different mediums. So they will give the questions to different mediums, and the spirits would answer the questions through them. In order for the answer to be in that book, the answer had to be the same.
Okay.
Right? So if you search on the book, there's you can buy the book. There's a free PDF. I've seen it. But if you search possession, you will get to that question talking about the question is if it's possible for a soul to get in your body and displace your soul, to push your soul away from your body. And the answer is, it's not possible.
Oh, okay.
It's not possible. You, the soul, are the owner of this body until it dies.
So there's no squatters coming in. No one can push me out and live in the...
No, the way I see it, I have not found it, right? Now, there's another concept that was, I think it was Ruth Montgomery in 1979, if I'm not mistaken, introduced the concept of walk-ins. The walk-ins is, let's say, I'm done learning my lessons, or maybe I took too many lessons. I got more than what I can handle. So instead of committing suicide, you make this deal with the soul, and you leave your body, and this soul enters your body and continues life. That's a concept, right? This concept was also mentioned by Dolores Cannon, was also mentioned by Dr. Baldwin, his book, what is the name of his book? Spirit Releasement Therapy. Again, going back to that book, Allan Kardec, and I totally agree with that. There's no possession. There's no soul that's going to get into your body and take your soul away and going to stay here. You're the owner until it dies. What people experience are spirit attachments, energies attaching to their energetic, to their vibrational field. When they attach to you, they transmit their fears, their sadness, symptoms, the pain they felt when they were dying. Sometimes their addictions, for example, their temper. So there are sometimes that the person might act like he's somebody different, but it's not possession. It's an attachment. So if you think of the aura, right? You have the layers of the aura. Yep. Depending on how deep they go into the layer, the more control they have over the body. But they don't own the body. You are the owner of it.
I follow. I was curious why you kind of prefaced your comment like you did, but now I see why. And I see why for a couple of reasons. One, I completely agree with you. That's the theory that I buy into. But what I find so interesting, and I see why you said it how you did, was because on our Instagram, whenever I post anything about tapping into the spirit realm or any type of like astral travel or moving throughout dimensions, any type of thing like that, people freak out. And for the reason you said, they're like, you can't do those type of things because your soul, your spirit will get hijacked or someone will come and take you and things like that. And it gets very argumentative about that topic.
Things that could happen, but there's no displacement of the soul, as I said. But what can happen that they can attach to you? Let's think about the surgery. When you're gonna undergo surgery, they give anesthesia, right? Mm-hmm. What anesthesia does, it puts you in a trance. And when that happens, your soul leaves the body. I might be watching how many of these cases you find on YouTube where the patient is telling what the doctors were saying, thinking, the instruments, when they even have, like Scotch tape or tape in the eyes. There's no way for them to see that, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're not in your body, what can happen to it? Some souls can take advantage and attach to it, but not displace you, take you away.
Got it.
And what is the biggest repository of lost souls? Hospitals, right? How many people die in hospitals? So it is at that moment that they can attach you. I'm not saying that it happens all of the time, but I had sessions where my clients had surgery or even people that worked at hospital, nurses.
I see Kenny shaking his head.
Well, in my head, I just went through a progression. I'm like, well, spirits. Yeah, that's why when you get drunk and blacked out, then you're not actually in your body. And that's how you're getting things attached to you then.
People susceptible to attachments are people that abuse alcohol or use drugs or use ayahuasca, because you're opening yourself up and you have no control. It's not like hypnosis. In hypnosis, you're going to stop the session whenever you want. But if you're doing an ayahuasca trip, for example, you need to wait until that wears off, right? Or if you use drugs, the same thing. So in what I do, I find that to be I got the same confirmation from Aurelio Mejia and from Kabuli. I was getting that, and it was just a confirmation. A lot of the clients that were using drugs, they had attachments. A lot of the clients, alcoholics, had attachments, because not only that you open up and your vibration goes very low and they attach to you, you attract those lost souls that used to be addicts or alcoholics, and they attach to you in order to keep experiencing that through you. That is the way it works.
Let's talk about the lost souls for a minute, though, because I guess the flat question to ask is, what is a lost soul? Is this what people would sometimes refer to as like negative energy or a dark energy?
So and thank you for asking that question, because there's no negative energy. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in, they're just souls more evolved than others. That's what it is, right? So people say, so when you have the spirits manifesting in a session, what are you using special effects? They want to scare you so that you don't bother them, right? God. I don't want to deal with what I have to deal, so it's going to scare you, use special effects. So
that happens in the spirit realm too?
That's when they attach to you. Sometimes it's like
the special effects pieces. That's cute. Okay.
Sometimes when there's an attachment, can you tell me who you are? I'm Satan. I say, well, what are you doing there? What are you wasting your time attached to this woman when you can be in hell having fun? You see, so I start talking to them that way without disrespecting them. They're going to start using the special effects, especially if you're new to this and they know you're afraid, they're going to mess with you, right? Wow. So going back to your question, what is a lost soul? Whenever our body dies, and depending on the way the body died, your soul can get lost in the way to the light, right? Let's say that you had a heart attack. All of a sudden, boom, massive heart attack. 1 minute you're alive, the next minute you're dead. And you don't understand what happened. Why is it that people cannot see me now? I see my body on the floor, I'm here, but I'm alive. And people cannot see me. Why is it I can go through the walls? You're not making sense of what happened. You didn't realize your body died. Somebody that dies on an operating table under anesthesia, they might not be aware that their body died. So and you can watch some of my videos on YouTube. Sometimes I was the one that had to give them the news. Have you realized that you're attached to a body that doesn't belong to you? I take them back to the moment they died. I say, you're on the floor. And you say you're seeing your body. How can you be seeing your body while your body's on the floor? What happened to you? Think about it. So lost souls can get lost in the way to the light. Some of them can decide to stay and not go to the light.
Okay.
Let's say somebody that wants to take care of their children. No, I'm going to stay to watch over my children because I'm afraid something can happen to them. Or maybe grandma that decided to stay back and be with the granddaughter because the granddaughter said to her, please don't leave me. I don't know what I would do without you. They decide to stay. Or you're looking for a loved one. But there are some that choose to stay back because they want revenge. So sometimes you find attachments that were your enemies from past lives or from this life. You did something to them, or at least they felt you did something to them. You might ask, you're going to be asking yourself, so how is it that they find you from a past life to this life, right? Yeah. Your soul is energy, it's a frequency. Think of your computer, it has an IP address which is unique on the internet. That's how we're communicating now. The soul is the same, it has a unique signature, like a frequency. That's how they find you. There's no geography, there's no space. For the soul, you can be anywhere, everywhere, at all times.
I'm just thinking like movies, you know how they're like, I'm going to get you. I don't know when or where. I'm going to get you. Literally, it could be a totally different life.
You're speaking about the movies, The Sixth Sense.
Oh.
You know, the guy didn't realize he was dead. That movie was well done. Yeah, that's the way it happens.
And all those people that are all stuck there, it seemed like they all had something traumatic, or they were like kind of not evil, so to say, but they were there for revenge or something, you know?
Yeah. And some of them stay back and they might not attach to you. Maybe they're attached to the house, or maybe just pass by, but they're lost. So in the book, I explained that I understood that was my soul's purpose, to help them. Who's going to help them? They don't see the light. They won't see the spirit guide. They won't see light beings because their frequency is not at that level. They will not see them. Who's going to help them? So then I'm thinking, maybe when it was time for me to reincarnate, I said, okay, I'll volunteer. I will help them from down there, you know. And once I help them here, then you take over. So it's a team effort. Once I help them see the light, they take over, and then you have a different team that helps them go to the light.
And so then these lost souls, I think you already said it though, but they can attach to a human body. They could just stay in a location like a house or a hospital or something like that, or what? They can just roam around here on the physical realm?
But they can attach to you, but we're not at their mercy. I mean, not every spirit can say, okay, I'm going to attach to Antonio and that's it. This is going to happen. It depends on how you're vibrating. It depends on what is happening. And in a way, and Allan Kardec, there's a question about this, you know, in that book. In a way, there's got to be some kind of permission. You cannot allow this. So I'll give an example. I was reading a book written by Chico Xavier. Chico, C-H-I-C-O, Xavier, X-A-V-I-E-R. Brazilian, medium, the best of the best, passed away years ago. He channeled like 440 books during his life. Channeled in spirits, dictated books to him. He was doing automatic writing, right?
Yep.
One of those spirits was André Louis. There's actually a movie about the first book that André Louis dictated to him. In English, the name of that movie is Astral City. And if I'm not mistaken, it's on Amazon Prime. You can find it. Astral City.
Okay.
Checking that out.
And this spirit tells about his experience when from the moment he died, his body died to the light. So he the interesting thing is that he was a doctor, and everything he explains is his book. He dictated 12 books to Chico Xavier. He was talking about attachments. He saw somebody that was going to this place where the prostitutes are,
brothels,
right?
yeah.
Right. So he was going to this place, and he noticed that there were two souls attached to him. And Andre Luis was talking to his mentor. Why don't we help this guy get rid of those two souls that are following him everywhere? He said, because we cannot help him. He will need to change his behavior first. He's visiting these places where everybody vibrates at a very low frequency. He's inviting them. They're attached to him because they want to keep experiencing that through him. He first needs to change that. You see, so in a way, there's kind of permission. You make it happen. You know?
If you give them a good home, like where the low energy, that's where they're going to vibe to.
You give them, you give them the right environment, they will come. You know?
Wow, that I totally believe. I'm looking at Ken, but
yeah, and that book where he talks about that is Missionaries of the Light, if I'm not mistaken. Missionaries of the Light. Andre Luis talks about that. He gives a lot of information. Because they can also attach to you while you're in the womb, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
So, hang on. In the what does it go through? So the mother's carrying the child, but how does it get through the mother's energetic frequency, or how does that work?
Well, what if I don't know? What if the woman is pregnant and she's promiscuous? She's having, because when you have not making love, when you have sex, you're not only exchanging fluid, you're exchanging energy.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
So she's opening up herself to all kinds of situations. So what if she's using drugs, or she's pregnant, or alcohol for whatever reason? That soul is exposed to all of that, because at that moment, the soul inside that fetus is inside that mother's vibrational field. And the vibrational field, your aura, is a shield that protects you from these energies. But if that shield is not doing its job, right,
they're in. Oh man,
you're not protected.
That's a crazy thought.
Yeah,
now
sometimes.
Well, you think about, because you okay, I think about myself, right? I can do certain things to make my shield stronger, but now you have a situation where somebody else is, at least for those 9 months, responsible for that child. And I guess too, like children, I don't know, when you're born as a baby, your mother, your parents have to take care of you 24/7.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of things happen while we're in the womb. If you're inside of your mother, but you're inside of his vibrational field, your mother has her own trauma, her own soul entrapment.
Sure.
She might have attachments. Who knows? What else? She has her own lessons to learn. Maybe she's living in a country where women are not respected, or maybe she's in a relationship where she's being abused, or the husband is violent. Or maybe she's thinking about aborting you, right?
Oh.
You as a soul, you're experiencing all of that. You're being affected by everything that your mother feels, things, and everything that is happening around her. What are your mother's parents telling her? What is the father is saying? Oh, I want this one to be a boy. I want this one to be a boy. And they say, you're going to be a girl. And then what happens when you're born? When I'm born, then I'm gonna do whatever it takes for me to please my father, because I know I'm going to be a girl and I want him to be happy. So you get something called soul entrapment in the womb. When you're in the womb, you cannot differentiate what belongs to you and what belongs to your mother.
Right.
Sure.
You feel everything as yours.
Oh
right?
My God.
And when you're born, you don't remember anything about this, but you carry all of that in your subconscious mind.
Oh my God, this is so wild. This is so wild for a number of reasons, but this is we need to take better care of our women, because the women are the ones that carry these childs for those 9 months. And it's like this never ending cycle, because they're bringing all these people into the world.
And whatever they're experiencing, whatever you're saying, whatever you're thinking, they're affected by all of that.
Oh my God.
In my session, I mean, in my YouTube channel, search for womb, and you will find one of those sessions, and you will see what people experience in the womb and how that affects them in life, because you get programmed by that.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, everything she eats, drinks, and that all affects the baby. Why wouldn't the energy,
The energy,
talking, everything?
Besides, the soul doesn't stay there all the time. It goes on and comes back, and but they're able to understand everything that is taking place, and they're being affected by that.
Wow.
But the thing is that you, as a soul, before you're reincarnated, you chose those parents for a reason.
Sure.
Right.
Right. So if you resent your parents, if you say, "Oh, I have bad luck with my parents," no, you found the best teachers you could find for you to learn the lessons you needed to learn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the work you do, you talk about your clients that come in, but you also talk about these lost souls. Do you ever, I don't know, out through the ether, just find these lost souls and are able to help them and send them to where they need to go, or help them get to where they need to be?
So I don't have any gifts. I'm not a psychic. I cannot sense energies. I do understand that Michael Newton will say, for example, that sometimes I ask questions or I say things during the session that I don't know where they're coming from, but I know that we're actually channeling, let's say, my client's spirit guide, right, to give me some hints. But everything that takes place is during a session and while my client is in a trance. So without that concept, I'm not able to do anything with souls. Now, what happens? Sometimes people with psychic abilities get to me. And most of the time, those people don't want to do anything with their abilities. I don't want to be psychic. It's been frustrating. It's been traumatic. I'm seeing these energies since I'm a kid in my room, and I don't want this. I need to make them understand you have this gift for a reason.
Yeah, you chose. You paid the ticket.
Right. You're a bridge between this dimension and the other one. So I help them understand what their purpose is, and I help them understand their gift and how to use it. One of those cases, which is in my book as well, is about Victoria Garcia. And she's a psychic. She didn't want anything to do with her gift. But then once she embraced her gift, now she's helping people using it. That's so awesome. If you have somebody with psychic abilities, you can still help lost souls. I have a relative that I'm still convincing her. Like, she doesn't know. I don't want them to find me. I don't know how they do it, but they find me anywhere I go. She can see spirits. So they will find you because they find you because of your energy, of your frequency. And the more you try to refuse your mission, the more painful it's going to be.
Right.
You have this gift for this reason. Once you're ready, let's get together. I'll show you how you can help these lost souls, because they're coming to her for a reason. So again, besides this hypnosis sessions, maybe through psychic, through mediums, right? But
I was going to ask too, because I know some of the other hypnosis sessions they can do like over Zoom and stuff like that. Is that able with introspective, or do you really need someone to be there in person?
I have not facilitated an in-person session in a year already. I've been doing. I was already practicing sessions over Zoom.
Okay.
QHHT cannot be done over Zoom, for example. They're not. We're not allowed to do that. But in introspective hypnosis, I was already doing it. By the time COVID hit, I thought it was going to be, we're going to be slow for some time. It was the total opposite. Awesome. Everything started to be online, and I was getting busier and busier.
Do you think that was also kind of a function of what happened over the last year? People started to have different, I don't know, I'll call them realizations, or things happen in their life that got them to a better space to come to someone like you?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Let me explain what I think COVID is doing for people.
Okay.
Number one, during quarantine, let me back up. Let's speak about addictions, right? Any addiction is a distractor that the mind uses in order not to deal with a repressed emotion. So when people say, I want to quit smoking, I don't work with that. I mean, we can find the emotion that is making you smoke, but it's up to you to quit smoking, right? Same thing. You have people that use smoking, Some people use alcohol, some people use drugs, right? Some others use the daily routine. They keep themselves busy at work, working overtime, taking classes, going to the gym. So when you get home, you're so tired that you just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
When you were in quarantine, you couldn't do any of that.
Right.
So you had to
Yep.
face yourself. You had to face your shadows, right? So all of these things that you were trying to cover started coming up to the surface. A lot of people got divorced. Why? Because now you were forced to stay together for days, and you were forced to work on these issues. So what they did is that I'm feeling this, I'm having these symptoms, and also they had more time. So maybe that's the reason why they started looking for practitioners to help them with sessions.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good. I don't want to go too deep on that one because it could go in a number of different rabbit holes, but that's a very interesting take that I totally am with. We just have episodes that are, I mean, this is great. And there's some that just make me, and this isn't a good way, make me think I got to go back to the drawing board, right? Because you just sit here and you're like, everything that's happened to you is because of you.
You.
That's a hard pill to swallow, though.
And the biggest thing to accomplish in a session is for your client to understand, or to client to stay or break the victim role, to realize that you're not a victim. Let me give you an example. In one of the classes, we were facilitating the demo session, and this person was touched inappropriately several times during her childhood, right? So we visited like 4 memories, and those 4 memories were about that. So while she was in a trance, she said, "Not again. Why me?" "Oh, let's see, why you?" I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And I want you to look for a life where you might have done something similar. She went to the life where she was a soldier, a man,
Mm-hmm.
and he was raping women.
Oh,
so right. So now are you a victim, or now it's karma?
Right.
And karma is not punishment. Now it is your time to experience what you made others experience, right? So you're not a victim. Once you realize I'm not a victim, she was able to forgive and she understood that they were putting her path for her to learn that lesson. Okay? So, and anyway, every victim has been an aggressor,
right?
At one point, yeah. It all comes back around. You give what you give, you know?
We play different roles. You're the victim, you're the aggressor, you're the observer, and we are affected by all of those roles. But the most difficult thing to do in a session is for somebody to understand that you're not a victim, even if you were raped, even if you were molested. There was something that your soul needed to experience about that.
And it's not this life that you did something that's coming back. It's something in your, well, again, soul only has one life. It's one of your past reincarnations.
Yeah. And then sometimes I ask my clients, right? How many lives have you been trying to learn this lesson? 10. How many more are you willing to spend? Maybe that's what the reason they were sent to. Maybe their guys sent them to have this session. How many more lives are you willing to spend trying to learn just this one lesson? Forgiveness. That's it. This is the last one. Perfect. Let's go ahead and forgive.
Wow. It is. So what, as we're have this live between lives time, we're kind of figuring out, like we're working in that classroom or whatever to figure out our next experience. What, as you incarnate here on earth, is that part of this whole experience? You kind of just forget all that because you have to experience it.
Otherwise, how would it be a real test? If you knew what you have to learn, if you knew the lessons you need to pass, I remember I need to learn about forgiveness on this one, so I'll forgive you, Or what if Shane and Ken were enemies in a past life, and Shane, you kill Ken, you kill him. So in the next life,
he almost did it this life. I pissed him off before, but go on.
So in the next life, now you're gonna be sent as father and son to work on that issue, right? So can you imagine, Shane, that Ken is born as your son, and once they give you, here's your baby son, is you again? Just give you. How will you react? how will you care for Ken, knowing that in a past life you killed him?
Yeah.
You know? So it's to our benefit that we don't remember what happened. It's to our benefit that we don't have all this information. As a matter of fact, when I get clients that are too young, nothing interesting really happens in the sessions. They don't give them, I mean, besides working on symptoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they want to know about their purpose, and they want to know about their lessons, and they want to understand why is it that they're going through this and this event, they're still undergoing their test. Even Michael Newton, when he was doing his research, he got to a point where he didn't accept anybody younger than 30, if I'm not mistaken, because he understood that they were not going to show them any information that was going to ruin the lesson for them, right?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're let's put it this way: if you're supposed to learn about forgiveness and you go to spirit world, and then you see that in a past life this happened, and you killed Ken, and then you need to work on forgiveness, they're giving you the answer.
Yeah, you totally missed the lesson.
The test is wrong. Yeah, the lesson is wrong,
yeah.
right? So sometimes, and a lot of times during life between life sessions, you have guides blocking. So no, you can only see up to here. We're not going to show you more.
That makes a lot of sense for a number of reasons. What I'm curious, just Michael Newton, you said 30. Was there a reason why he picked 30?
Because as I was saying, I don't know why. I mean, he did thousands of sessions, and he maybe understood that younger than 30, they were still going through this test. But as they were getting older, it was time for them to understand. Now it's time for you to understand that you're still trying to make this mistake when you already made it in a past life. It's time for you to go ahead and wake up. Right?
I had to ask because I know people are going to listen and be like, it's the Saturn return. It's the Saturn return. That's why it's 30.
What's the Saturn return?
That's when you're born. It's somewhere 30 years for you to make that first loop all the way around.
Yeah, I don't know. He chose that age for a reason.
Yeah, and then they say it's like between 27 and 33 is when you start to have that spiritual type awakening, and a lot of people attribute it to that's your first Saturn return.
I see. Yeah, no,
so that's why I asked. I knew people were going to listen and be screaming and yelling that, so I was like, I might as well ask anyways. Yeah,
no, he was using 30. And besides that, not everybody qualifies for a life between life session.
Really?
Yeah, you need to go really deep into a trance. Not everybody goes really deep into a trance. So first, you're required to have a past life regression in order to first understand how deep your client is going to go, if it makes them a good candidate for a life between life session. And number two, to work on any issues pending before you go to the spirit world. Right? So you're going to want to clean the house before you go to the spirit world. So if that person is not supposed to get that information, the past life regression is gonna be that good, because they're not gonna allow them to go to the next step to get more information. So, I try sometimes. One of the times I try so many times to bypass the guide. See, I mean, I was testing myself. I was researching. And it doesn't matter what I tried. The answer was always no, and there was always blockage. So.
How do you try to bypass the guides? You just like ask questions in different ways, just kind of.
Well, so first was about the guide, and the guide said no because such and such reason. Okay, so she went to what we call the stations. Let's say she went to the library, and as she was in the library, now let's open the book and look for specifics, whatever. See that your Akashic records basically to get understanding of what's happening. They were never able to see anything. Well, now let's go, as you're going to the Council of the Elders, they're not telling you anything. So it doesn't matter what I tried. She was able to get some information. This specific client was told the reason why she was here in this life and what she missed to learn in previous lives, the lesson that was pending for her, and that she only had one more life in this planet. This is what she was told, but she could not know what was coming. So they didn't allow her to go to the station where you would choose our body, because you choose the body. They give you options, right? Which body is the one that is going to help me accomplish my lessons, and she was not able to go to those places. She was not able to get information from the library. As I kept asking more questions to the guy was just giving me little information because she said she can't not know what's coming next, right? So that's the way I try in many ways. Actually, Michael Newton was doing it as well. That's how he realized when guides were blocking.
I gotcha. So I don't know the best way to ask what I'm about to ask, but I'm just going to kind of try and talk through it to get there. Is Earth, where we're at right now, has it always kind of been what it is right now, just this place to come experience, or are there people or forces or whatever making it harder on us to even to come through and go through this process and experience what we're supposed to here? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the question. I don't know. I do not know if that is the case. I have not found anything about that in the sessions. People going to the spirit world and going through the birth process or reincarnation process, they didn't tell me anything about that. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of other techniques that deal with extraterrestrials, and their concept is like this planet is a farm, right? And that these extraterrestrials live out of our energy. And the energy is generated by the emotions, and that is why we're having so many emotions in this planet. It's a lot of theories. It is not part of my reality. It is not useful for what my clients came to accomplish. Doesn't matter if we're in a farm. We're affected. We're suffering.
We're still here.
That's a great point.
If we're cows in a farm, then hey, my job is I'm a cow helping another cow. Get understanding. Doesn't matter about the farmer.
Right.
So
maybe that's one of the larger tricks here, right? Is like, it doesn't matter actually, because whatever is going on here, it is the experience to be had, so you can go through your journey, your process.
It doesn't matter because in a way, we're still learning and we're evolving and we're coming back. Wow. So are you going to complain that you're in a farm? Can you avoid coming back to a farm? Hey, have a lot of fun in the farm.
Hey,
thank you. To the horses.
Thank you. Have a lot of fun in the farm.
Yes, when you play video games, you choose the character, you choose the weapons, you choose the environment where your character is gonna go. Just enjoy it, and go through it. It's a virtual environment, but you're going to you're gonna have fun while you're doing it.
And I've started to really, I don't want to say embrace because I'm not quite there yet, but started to understand that thought. And I've just been saying more and more to myself and anyone that listens is just enjoy the experience.
Yeah. I mean, and when we say enjoy the experience, I know that for a lot of people, it's going to sound like very naive, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of suffering. Sure. I know that. I mean, so much that sometimes I question myself, why do we have to go through so much suffering in the name of spiritual evolution? Mm-hmm. Antonio, as a human being, sometimes cannot understand that. What I know is that we come back, and what I know is what we get during the sessions and what we experience. And that the only thing I know is that I can help my clients this way. When I say, well, have fun in the farm is, yes, we're part of this farm. Since you're here, benefit from everything this farm has to offer. Even if it's sad or even if it's happy, you learn from all of those. Interacting with other animals, interacting with the farmer, if you want to call it that way. There's something we need to get out of this. If you just complain, oh, why am I in the farm? I hate being in the farm. What are you accomplishing?
It's going to be miserable. That's all you're doing, and everyone around you is going to be
you're delaying your evolution anyway.
And I guess, too, that is another strong realization or a powerful realization that a human should and can make is life. I think it's one of the Buddhist Four Noble Truths is life is suffering. And I mean, that is, again, like the sadness, the angry, the depression, all that is part of the experience.
Yes. And what else? I mean, besides, what are things that we cannot experience as souls? Being in spirit form, you cannot experience emotions. So if you're in this body, the way you're going to experience your lessons are through emotions. Think about it. When people go to sad memories in my sessions, and I start asking questions about the sad memory, what is bothering them is not what happened in the sad memory, it's how they felt during that moment. It's the emotion, and that emotion sometimes trap them in that experience and maybe not forgiving. So it's not about what is happening, it's that what you're feeling while that is happening, what is causing the problem.
And I was just thinking too. You said, there's so much suffering, and suffering is one of the strongest. Brings up the strongest emotions.
Yeah,
So it's almost like
it's an
these
amplifier for
souls.
learning. Yeah.
These souls are almost like junkies. We're like, hey, I want a shot of whiskey, as opposed to like, hey, maybe having a sip of beer or a glass of wine. It's like that's the hard stuff,
As a souls, we go to different schools. One of the schools is planet Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that is one of the most challenging ones.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I was
going to say, it ain't easy here.
It's difficult. I mean, I get my clients, and being a man, I realize how difficult it is to be a woman, for example, in this planet. Doesn't matter which part of the world you're incarnating. So I tell my wife, if I reincarnate again, I'm going to talk to my guide. Say, please don't send me back as a woman, because I know it's super challenging. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it becomes more and more apparent, especially through this conversation. We got to the part about the womb. The importance of taking care of our women just really struck me.
Yeah. And there's a lot more, Shane, that happens. If we're talking about energies, we all have feminine and masculine energy, for example, right? Mm-hmm. So when the feminine energy, the feminine energy is a creative energy, is a creative part of you, and the masculine energy is the executor. Is the one that executes the plan. So one creates the plan, the other one executes, right?
Okay.
So whenever your female energy is hurt, your creative part is not there, and there's nothing to execute because there's no plans.
Right.
Now, as I said, we all have female and male, but think about it. You have a male body now, but you might have been a woman in a past life.
Right.
So what happens when the female energy is wounded? How does that manifest in this life? Women not able to be pregnant, women not able to keep long relationships, women feeling lost or having issues. Not only women, but men, because we have both energies.
Right.
So when they come to the session, they don't say, oh, I'm coming to heal my wounded feminine energy. No, they come with symptoms. And when you see something that happened in their lives over and over and over, that gives me the idea. I suspect that might be coming from another experience where they were wounded, or maybe they were raped, or they were burnt alive. Everybody was a witch. Every healer was a witch back then, and they were burned because they were using their energy. In this life, I don't want to use anything. I don't want to help people because helping people is a problem. I don't want to speak in front of public because they get triggered. They remember the time they were burned. People looking at them, yelling at them, they freeze, they freak out, they're not able to speak. So all of those issues, we also bring. But again, especially women with the female energy, right? It causes a lot of problems. So there's a lot of things that you can see, a lot of things that happen to the soul, and a lot of things that can cause to the soul and cause to this body in this life. Right? And things that can take place in a session. Learning all these techniques, QHST, introspective hypnosis from Aurelio Mejia, life between lives, and past life therapy from Kabuli, I have all the tools. I call it the soul, the map of the soul. I'm able to deal with past lives. I'm able to deal with these lives. I'm able to deal with in-between lives. So all of these things can take place in a session, believe it or not.
And it sounds like the only person that can fix your own self is your own self.
Right. You heal yourself. We're going to guide you through the process. I'm going to be asking questions. You're going to realize, but I cannot tell you what to do. That's not my job.
Wow.
I thought Shade was going somewhere.
I was going to, because I'm going to add, because these are all this is all, I don't know how to say it.
I don't know. I've had goosebumps like 6 times.
I guess what my question though is what I'm trying, and we can start to wrap up here, but my question is, so a lot of people aren't ready for anything like this, not only to, have an experience with you or someone like you, but they're not even ready to hear a conversation about a lot of these things. So I guess my question too is how much energy, so me and Ken, I shouldn't even speak for Ken, but me, I sit here and I'm like, yes, I love this. I buy this. I'm all about, not even that I buy it. I know these things. How much of our energy should we be giving out to talk about, or I don't want to say convince people of these things, but to spread it out there. Because a lot of people are going to look at you and be like, you're on some crazy woo-woo stuff.
Yeah. Well, that is what I was facing at the beginning. I was always excited talking about these topics, but it's difficult to convince people. If that's not the reality, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
So I started doing what Aurelio was doing and was sharing some of the sessions. I was asking my clients, are you willing to share a session? People can learn from this. So I have sessions in my YouTube channel. So it's not about me convincing people. People find those sessions. They see what happened. It's not about me telling them. It's about seeing what my client experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So people will say, oh, but this client maybe made it all up. How can you make up emotions? How can you make up physical symptoms? See what happens in those videos. There's no way that you can say this person made this up. Why didn't they make up a beautiful life like a princess or
yeah.
You know, why making up being killed, being hanged, being burned alive? So that is the reason why I have these videos, Shane and Ken. So to bring awareness, that is why I enjoy having this type of interviews, to start spreading the message. This is what is happening. I'm not saying, oh, buy my book or book a session with me, because there are many other people that use different techniques that can help in the very same way. It's just that there are more things that you can try to help yourself. But my main message will be, we're not victims. Take ownership of whatever life throws at you. Don't run. There's no running away. If you run away from that lesson is going to chase you.
And Antonio, you're not saying it. I am. Go buy his book. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
no, this is everything you've like I was saying. I've gotten goosebumps. This one like hit home really hard with me because like I'm super into past life regression, and then now I'm reflecting on all like what I went into and how I looked at it wrong, and now everything like I got to go back and totally take a different look at what I was doing. So I suggest everybody like I don't know, this is super trippy to me, and it really does hit home.
Well, I'm glad I was able to share a little bit of this knowledge and experience and trigger something in you guys. Maybe.
Not maybe. You Ken just said I looked up and noticed I'm recording and looking in front of a mirror, and I'm just like, all that's telling me is it's you, dude. It's you. So I know it hit me too. So this has been wonderful. So Ken mentioned the book, but for anyone listening, where can they find you? Where can they find your work? Where can they find the book?
Well, they can visit my website, antoniosangio.com. I don't know if you can edit, maybe put the website here.
I'll put it, Antonio, we'll get it all in there.
Right?
Yep.
Sangio.com. You type Antonio Sangio on YouTube, you will find my channel. And on Amazon, you want to buy my books, you search Antonio Sangio, you're going to find My Soul's Purpose. That one is in English and Spanish. I'm originally from Peru, South America. Okay. So Spanish is my native language. I write in Spanish and then we translate. And in this case of my second book, my son is helping me reviewing everything. So the next book, the title is going to be Guiding Lost Souls, helping spirits go back to the light through the use of hypnosis. So I'm sharing a little bit of the techniques on how to help these lost souls go back home. That's where you can find me, really.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to get all of that into the episode notes for people to easily find as well. Thank you again for joining us. This has been wonderful. Even if it was just great for me and Ken, this was great.
Seriously,
thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun with you guys. It's amazing.
Thank you.